Good morning. It's time for Comics and Coffee with Cliff and my guest, Cole from the Masters of Comic Books. Good morning, everybody.
Hi. Hello.
So, Cole, I'm super happy to have you here, especially after having had Paul on, and we briefly discussed you, and I immediately tagged you in that clip of the show.
Well, yeah, after you did that, I messaged you. I'm like, hey, can I be on?
And I'm like, yes, let's do it. Let's make it happen. I'm super happy to have you here, as is the chat. Travis, TM Nerdy, up in Prince Edward Island. I hope you're staying warm, buddy. Good morning. Good morning, Christina Payne. We love you. Omni popped in to say hello. He's in Australia. Please catch us in the rewind. Las Cruces from New Mexico. Good morning, as always, James. DJ Wise is here at work, but hello. Hey, some of us are at work too. Good morning, Matt, Heroes for Hires Club. JSS Brooklyn, good morning, sir. Phil's Treehouse is here. Drew Manchu, good morning. I appreciate you being here. How is the Iceman reread going? I know it's tough. Some of it was tough for me, but I powered through. And good morning, Mike from Evil's Comics. All right, the chat is looking good. Let me make sure I actually have the video on my side screen, because sometimes I can't see the whole chat for some reason. Thanks, StreamYard. We're looking good. We are looking good. Drew Manchu, I haven't started it yet. If anyone would like to take part in the Iceman Reread Club, please DM me on IG at CliffNY. We'll talk about it. Good morning, John's Comics for Kids. Great to see you here. Alrighty, so Cole, for those in the community who do not know you, let us start with, what was the first comic book that made you fall in love with comics?
Oh, that's a loaded question to start us off. It's funny. So, like, my dad, when I was growing up, my dad actually, he got subscription. He had subscription to 2 Marvel series when I was growing up. He had Greg Rucka's Wolverine from like 2003, and then J. Michael Straczynski's Spider-Man with John Romita Jr. and everything. So I remember looking at those, and so like that kind of that really got me into superheroes. And so I remember just looking through that, not knowing what the hell was going on, because like around that time you had like Civil War going on too, and like I think Old Man Logan took place after that. So like I know very little about what's going on, mainly because I'm like 6 years old when that's going on. But what was that?
But you hung in there.
I did, but like I didn't. I guess what really got me into comics was House of X and Powers of 10 in 2019, because right around when COVID happened is like when the Krakoa stuff kicked off and everything. Yep. And so like since we were stuck at home, I ended up reading everything and like caught up to everything. So Hickman is the reason I am into comics.
Great, because I was afraid you were totally poisoned by John Romita Jr. And
ooh, okay, I understand why people don't like John Romita Jr. I personally love him.
I think he's a lovely human being. I can't stand his work, and all of his best work, it was during times in his life where he had his best health. So I'm very particular.
I get what you mean. No, I understand some people's grievances when it comes to with John Romita Jr.'s art, especially with his stuff currently, because I don't think his art translated too well when it went from like physical to digital. You know what I mean?
There's a few reasons I have about his art not translating very well over time. But
okay, you know what?
I'm like, he didn't have the same house artist to help lift him up. So.
Okay, I get what you mean. I get it. The silence, though, right there, really, like, I felt like a knife in my heart for a second.
Could you imagine me having this conversation with him?
Oh, man.
He'd probably get up and take a swing at me, and then I would just use my height to dodge.
Oh, totally.
I'm horrible. I'm really horrible. You know, I shouldn't take everything out on him. Or Frank Miller. But yeah, I do.
No, Frank Miller. Yeah, we don't talk about that one.
But again, both great storytellers in their own right. And
Yeah.
like, I will defend that. It's just that, like, the actual art in the page, I can't. Woo, good morning. So
Frank Miller has some of the best cover arts.
moving right along. So, yeah, his old ones when he had Claus Johnson with him.
Yeah, I know.
I love Claus Johnson. The next time I see Claus Johnson, I think I'm going to give him a hug. I just feel like, I know what you mean to this community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for everything you did. Oh my God. It's true. It's true. All right, that was a great first question, though. All right. Ooh, this is a fun one. What comic book character do you think is the most underrated?
Oh my lord. Oh man.
Or name a comic book character you think is highly underrated.
Ooh, a comic book character I think is underrated. Ooh, this is gonna be hard. Ooh. Drawing a blank.
I mean, come on. There's so many. There's Hawkeye.
That's my problem. That's my problem. I have like
yeah.
so many in my head. I'm trying to I'm literally going through my file cabinet trying to figure out which one I think is most underrated.
Yeah. Do we not talk about Ravager enough? I mean, there's so many out there.
Okay, you make a lot of points. I mean, just before we started recording, we were talking about Revival by Tim Seeley, and I love that comic book series. So I would have to go with that main character from Revival.
Well, we're going to be getting a live action soon, so.
Are we really? Yes, I have seen that. Yes.
Yeah, he was on the set, so I'm very excited.
Oh, that's going to be so fun. I remember when I read this. I read it I think last year, and I was very surprised that I've never seen anything else about it, honestly.
Yeah. I'm just happy it's a complete series. That's what I just really dig about it. So yeah, people can go out. You can enjoy it. The trade paperbacks are available. You can pick it up off of Kindle if you have to, if you're a digital reader, whatever. It is there. And it's very good. And I love that some of the characters, because I've made jokes that I was like, because his co-creator is like, no, I don't want to intermingle these characters with Hack Slash or anything. And I was like, dude, I don't know. I was like, the big jerk guy that you have who's into mysticism, I was like, he should cross over into Hack Slash. That'd be a great team up.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Didn't they do a Chew crossover?
They did do a Chew crossover, and he still made it work. And I'm like, dude, if you can make Chew work, I mean, come on.
I do love Chew.
So and that was a one-shot crossover, but still quite interesting.
Oh yeah, I think what was I read Josh Williamson's Nailbiter, because I think that crossed over with Chew as well. I think, yes. or maybe it was Hack Slash. I get it confused sometimes.
You know what's fun for me? I am telling Tim Seeley that I was like, dude, you had a crossover Friday the 13th. He goes, no, I wish. I was like, but I remember seeing a cover so vividly. Orange flames, Jason's coming right for her. And he's like, dude, that was like a commission for somebody. I was like, well, damn, it really imprinted on my mind.
Do you remember who did the cover at all?
I think it was Tim and somebody else, and it was a fake cover commission, somebody's like, yeah, I want this fake cover, and they just did it, and it's just great. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought it was a real product. I can't believe
that hasn't been a thing yet.
He would love to, but apparently Friday the 13th is a very difficult property to manage rights to.
Okay, is it just because it just keeps on bouncing from people, or is it just?
Yeah, there's a lot of bouncing, and certain iterations belong to certain people. Certain iterations belong to certain people. What?
Well, I mean, I don't want to sound. It kind of makes sense for the amount of different Friday the 13th movies there are.
No, it does make sense. It also makes me really sad. If anybody ever wants to try and tell an in-continuity story, it's a nightmare for them.
Oh yeah, you have to call so many different people just to get one yes.
Yeah, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah," it's like, "Oh yeah, you want to use mine? Oh yeah, and with the kid, yeah, of course." And they call someone else, so it's like, "No, dude, I don't do comic books." You can't do it. You can't commingle these things.
No.
All right. Bum, 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 bum. Ooh, I like this one. Who is on your comic book creator interview bucket list?
I've been wanting to. One of my favorite and most favorite interviews I ever did was Kelly Thompson. So she was on my bucket list, and that happened. But one of my favorites, I've always wanted to talk with Matthew Rosenberg. I'm a huge fan of his. I always loved a lot of his comic books that he's done. More beyond than just like X-Men. I love all of his What's Furthest Place from Here is my favorite. 4 Kids Walking to a Bank. I just love the sort of like punk rock aesthetic, indie rock that he's got going on. And so like I feel like I could just talk about music with that man for hours instead of comic books. So probably Matthew Rosenberg, honestly.
I was gonna say he's been bringing it with DC versus Vampires for a few years now.
Oh yeah, I've been really enjoying that little series. I even enjoyed some of the Joker stuff he did too.
Yeah, he did the Joker, the man who stopped laughing.
Yeah. It wasn't too bad. The problem with that one, it lasted a very, very long.
It did. You got to give them credit. You know, they made it work, and they kept him away from Batman for a good while too.
Which was honestly kind of nice, a little bit. But like
it was refreshing.
Yeah, and it was like they had good, consistent art as well.
And those Bermejo covers.
Oh my good, yes.
All right, JSS actually has a question for you. Cole, what is your favorite book in your PC that you would never part with? Your lifer book.
What's a PC?
Personal collection.
Oh man. The one thing is Mark Waid and Michael Ringo's Fantastic Four omnibus.
Really?
That was the first omnibus I ever bought for myself, and it's just one that I hold dear to my heart. I just love that entire run from beginning to finish, and it's what made me a huge Mark Waid fan.
I am going to agree with you, and I think there's a fantastic Doom story in there where he makes a deal with a demon, kills the only woman he ever loved.
Yeah.
To give himself all the magical power he was ever denied. Am I remembering this correctly?
Yeah. It's like issue 64, 65 or something like that.
It was issues like 60 through 70.
Yeah.
And then 500 to 524 was because they went back to the legacy numbering, like that whole thing. Like I loved it. I don't even remember what like made me turn my head and be like, oh, I want to pick up this Fantastic Four book. But like as soon as I did, I was like, this story's amazing.
It is so good from beginning to end. And I think Mark Waid and Mike Wieringo were such like a perfect collaboration for that series too. Because like Mike's art was always just so beautiful and so fun and so like charismatic and dynamic with I just love like his expressive takes with the characters and everything, and it was funny too. And plus it was it's always funny because I always go back and forth between what are my favorite Fantastic Four runs, and I always go back between Waid and Hickman's, but like Waid's I always go back to because I'm always a sucker for like a family more like a family comic and everything, and like showing those connections and relationships.
I agree with you, and that's usually when people get it right with the Fantastic Four. I like it.
Just like Ryan North's right now. I'm loving Fantastic Four by Ryan North.
Yeah, I like that he's done like an anthology almost.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like there's like little adventures for specific moments and members, and then like stuff that really ties together.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of like just like the early days of like in the 60s when the Fantastic Four came out and stuff. And so I think it really captures that aesthetic really well.
All right, so I'm trying to piece together this. All right, so Mike is saying Omni versus Floppy or Slab. So I am assuming because you are a new reader compared to the majority of my audience, we're interested in knowing what you prefer collecting. Omni's, regular individual comics, and how do you feel about collecting Slab comics like the graded books behind me?
I usually I go for Omnis and like trade paperbacks too. The reason being is because I'm in a very, very small town from where I'm at, and so I don't have any close comic book shops near me where I want to make the drive all the time. So I actually read digitally through the Kindle app and anything else that I'm able to get, and so yeah, mainly omnibuses and like trade paperbacks or anything like that.
All right. Which brings us to the second round of Mike. You preferring the value of the story over the value dollar of the product.
Yeah, I'm not much of a I'm a collector with omnibuses and stuff, but I usually love the story more than the dollar value.
And me, because I have obsessive compulsive disorder. Good morning, Collector P. So I love the story, right? Mm-hmm. And I usually have a floppy of anything, some version of a floppy of anything that I get a slab of. So if I got a slab, it is either number one, I really wanted it because I really love the story for some reason, right? Like,
yeah.
Number two, it was a gift. Number three, I just really wanted it slabbed, right? And then and then number four, wow, it was a really good deal. I couldn't pass it up, so I had to leave with it.
Yeah, I get that. I understand that.
So I was like, oh man, I was like, I could get these two slabs for $100, and I really need both of them. Okay.
I love how like you always like with every purchase you like try to justify it at every time. Like, see, it's okay.
Lady good morning, Caroline. All right, one good thing about living in Sydney with so many sources for comics, she has multiple sources for comics where she is. She's in Tennessee. She is surrounded by all sorts of stuff.
God, I wish I had that. That should be a bumper sticker.
If only I feel like it's great, but I also feel like it could be terribly misconstrued. And you don't want dudes, offering to push rope on you.
I know, but I think that's the funny part of it.
Oh my god. Trev says I'm the same, couldn't care about the dollar value. I'm like,
I understand the appeal.
I care about the dollar value when I'm the one paying. So
yeah.
It's not that I don't care at all, but I want to make sure that I'm getting the most bang for my buck. So like that's a whole thing in of itself.
No, I get that too. I understand that wholeheartedly.
What is ooh? Okay, here's one of my hot take questions.
Oh no.
Marvel versus DC. Which universe does a better job exploring its villains?
Okay, so right now I would have to go with DC right now. With Marvel, I am like, it's funny because I'm a Marvel guy wholeheartedly. I started reading Marvel comics, like I just said, with the Spider-Man and Wolverine, and then like really got into it with the Krakoa stuff. But like recently, I've been really struggling with a lot of Marvel, so a lot of probably any question would go towards DC.
That's okay. And listen, I would defend DC. I always felt like DC villains. DC was first at. No, maybe they weren't necessarily first, but I feel like DC always tried to explore more on the villain side. And then like I feel like Marvel really had to like shift gears on their villains and be like, oh, we can't just make them all evil. We gotta have reasons.
Well, add backstory and stuff. But I could see, yeah, with DC starting that first, yeah, because like a lot of Marvel stuff, it was like a lot of, or at least way in the beginning, just a bunch of like almost like anthologies of just these stories kind of come together with like little evil plans here and there.
Norman Rad, good morning. All right, the chat is obsessed with your age. How old are you, sir?
I am 932. Mm-hmm. I'm kidding. I'm
without the vampire blood.
Technically, I am 25.
25, perfect. All right, so JSS already. This is a fascinating discussion with a younger person. I'm processing this as this overall as an interesting impact statement on the future of collecting, which it very well may be. And of course, they're all taking a guess at your age. I love it. You're right in the middle at 25.
Yep. I am 25.
See, this is the importance. This is the importance of commingling in the community. So we gotta know what's up. We gotta know what people are doing out there, because there's a lot of people who just sit back and make a lot of assumptions about what younger readers are doing. And some of us don't even see younger readers in the wild. I see 2 in the wild. 2. Everyone else is around my age, within a 10-year factor, right? Yeah. And Trav, I got divorced.
I know. I was just laughing at that one.
You're younger than my son. Oh my God. Yes, mixed to gens. We all agree with that content. So like content scheme. So I'll tell you something funny. I went on a show called the Espresso Mail Call on Anachronic Comics, right? And someone left in the comments that it was so nice to see somebody on the show who reads new comics. And I was like, so I started going back to other episodes, and I was like, wow, I'm like the first person in a very long time who came on and talked about any new comics, So I was like, man, I really I gotta make a little footnote about this for the future. Matt says you don't look a day over 185. That's perfect.
Oh, thank you. Moisturizer.
Christina Payne reminding people to do the thumbs up. Older folks having ideas based around so real thing here. So in my encounters with the older readers online and in person, I think in person we have less generalizations, because we do know a couple of younger readers at the shop, and so that informs us a little bit about what's going on. So A, we're happy to see people collecting, and B, we notice that they pick up more manga than regular comics, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then of course, but the manga thing actually became very obvious to us. Manga doesn't change much, and the price point on manga hasn't changed.
No, it's
right?
always like a consistent, almost like a 12, between like $11 and $15 almost every time.
Yeah, exactly. Very consistent. Where the rest of us are in the comic shop and we're wailing and crying and everything about oh no, this book is $5.99. This book is $6.99. What are they doing? So it's really fun. Of course, Lady F says we need good storytellers to pass on the art. Yes, we do. We need great storytellers, visual, written. We need them to battle AI.
Oh my God, yeah.
AI can't possibly summon our internal traumas the way humans can. Come on.
I agree.
This is interesting. There's still so much old content that already exists out there. I could never buy another new comic and still have a body of work I'll never complete. I'm like, I've made my peace with that. I made my peace with that a long time. Cost has made me pull back on books I would normally read. Yep, absolutely. All right, so that's a good one for that's a good one to wrap up on. How do you manage your spending for week to week? Do you keep to a $50 budget? Are some weeks just absolutely brutal and you're going to be having ramen for the rest of the month? How is it?
It started out where I would buy so much because I was so excited when I first got into comics. So I would just buy everything, and then I was like, this isn't smart. You're in college. Don't do that. And so I've strict to a budget, and I just follow writers and artists that I feel like I am offending them if I don't pick up their book or something like that. So I've managed to limit it quite a bit. I don't really get stuff that is the $5.99 or $6.99 or anything, unless it's a new series by a creator that I love.
Yeah, that's a good one. And even then I have trouble with the new creators that I love. And good morning, Pocan Joe, my boy. How are you? All right. That's a good spot to tie up that. That was a lovely getting to know you. Now I want to shout out my subscribers. All right, Old Wolf 65, Mr. Spock, Wayne Deacon, Hello Humans, Pocan Joe Comic Review, Gene Mello, Heroes for Hire Club, 23 Monch, Chris the Comic Vet, Taylor Winder, KBDM, Mama Bear Doll, Mark Spector Comics, 1063 Comics, Rob Fatstacks O Comics, woo! Wellbore, Ben Compton, 2 Megatherion, Sticksboy73, Commieverse, Omnibo, The Council of Comics, Anachronic Comics, Mad Spidey, DJ Lynx, SFawn82, Brian LCS, Dr. Von Hoot's Comics from the Spiral Dimension, still 35 cents, and Dr. Doom's Fan Club. And I hope I got everybody because I only updated this 2 nights ago. So thank you to everybody. I'm going to do a members only giveaway video this weekend. So for those who are members, you will win this Incredible Hulk 21. Hold on, let me. Beautiful homage cover, and of course, leading into the new Captain America movie. New Gods #1.
Ooh, I love that cover.
Lovely cover.
It is so pretty.
New Gods #2. The Lenticular.
Also a pretty cover.
This one is literally in here because I thought it was a pretty cover. Spider-Gwen Shadow Clones #4.
Ooh, I love it. I'll be your commentary.
There you go. Ultimate Wolverine #1 Bermejo cover. All New Venom #2 Marvel Rivals cover. The Amazing Spider-Man 65 Marvel Rivals cover. And Magic #1 Marvel Rivals cover. Easily placing the value of this prize well over $60 just in the Marvel Rivals covers alone. And for members today, if you stick around to the end of the show, I'm going to have a hashtag, and you could win a Bermejo cover for Ultimate Wolverine #1. And Cole, you can participate in this one.
Oh, I definitely will.
Spirits of Vengeance #3 with Ghost Rider 2099 cover. Art Germ from the Neighborhood Spider-Man #1. Art Germ Spider-Woman #5. And Art Germ Captain Marvel #34. So yay! Wait, is that the one I have for you? Yeah, that is the one I have. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll fix it later. I have other stuff for the Council of Comics giveaway.
We'll fix it in post.
Well, I've never fixed. I don't think I fixed anything in post. Holy cow! I have 9 new comments. All right. Oh goodness! Yay! Free stuff. All right, Cole. What are you reading from current comics?
I'm reading all the Absolute stuff from DC. I am reading all the Ultimate stuff from Marvel. It's pretty much it, honestly. And then I'm reading Fantastic Four, Justice League Unlimited. I've been loving so much. I also really love The Flash by Cy Spurrier, actually.
And you're the only one. And
I understand. I get why people do not like that. I really understand why people do not like it. I'm loving it though.
And you know what? Please ignore my snarkiness, because I have found that someone said something to me the other day about defending your joy online. When I like something or love something, that I feel like I have to defend it. And also I tend to put people on the spot to defend something that they thought was that was wonderful, and I'm like, no, it was garbage. Why do you think it's wonderful? So no, I'm going to try and turn over a new leaf, and I'm just going to try and be like, that's great. I don't know why you like it, but I love that you love it. I'm going to try and be that person. I'm going to try really hard. Yeah, I'm going to try really hard, because I know my nature is very judgmental, but I want to be better, Look at him. I'm like, I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be a better person.
But honestly, I'm reading a lot more DC than Marvel, honestly. Marvel just is not hitting with me whatsoever, except for the Ultimate stuff and Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I may agree. And I also agree with this. Cole, what are your thoughts on the Absolute books by DC and the Marvel Ultimate books to date so far?
I think they're great. the reason I'm loving Absolute DC right now is just it's DC Comics is allowing their creators to just go ham and just go and do what they want to do and stuff, and I think that's what's really fun about it. Absolute Wonder Woman is probably my favorite out of the three so far, and it's just consistently so awesome. I just love how you could just tell, like, when you read those comic books that these creators are collaborating and having fun. Like, you can almost like see the chemistry when you read that comic. And then with the Ultimate line, I'm just having fun with it because everything in the main continuity is just kind of garbage. Marvel.
A little bit, although yeah, I'm having some fun in main continuity. I'm having real mixed feelings about Doomsday being the time trapper now. You know? I'm like, it kind of makes sense. Like, Superman just dumped him at the end of time to let the ravages of the end of time destroy him, right? But of course, because it's Doomsday, it's like, even the end of time can't destroy me. You left me in hell and it didn't destroy me. And I'm like, ugh.
Hey, I am loving Williamson's Superman right now. I mean, honestly, if you look at every single DC comic on the stands right now, it has an artist that is just killing it on every single issue, and I think that's the big advantage that DC Comics has over Marvel right now. Not saying Marvel doesn't have good artists, but I feel like most of the artists from Marvel, they're very it's very just generic, in my opinion, except for like a handful of people.
Yeah,
I don't mean to rack on any of the artists over at Marvel, because like I bet they all do fantastic work, but like the only comics that really like pop out to me that really are given the chance to do its own thing. You got like Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, Miles Morales by Cody Ziegler, which has like a total like manga aesthetic. Like, you can see so many influences from like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I just love that so much. Those are the only ones that are coming to mind right now, actually.
I love when we agree. I really do. And you nailed all of them on the head, honestly. I've been very disappointed with Spider-Man. Oh, by the way, I mean, I personally am absolutely loving the new Champions.
I haven't picked that up. I wanted to, but that was one of the ones that I just pushed to the side. Couldn't make the cut,
yeah.
Yeah.
Give it a chance. Did you read Spider-Woman?
Yes, I did.
Ended? Same writer.
So, I love Steve Fox. Wonderful.
Yes, so Steve Fox picks up not literally where he left off, but like, you know.
But it's with that team, though?
Where he left off. Yeah. So like the kids all like have a home now, and like some of them are in a foster home that's like, oh my god, these poor children, Hydra had them, you know, and like Cadet Marvel like went home to his dad. So like that's kind of neat. But anyhow, I really enjoyed the first issue a lot, so I'm pretty excited about this.
I'll have to pick that up then.
Give it a try. And Hell Ruin is more than what she seems, and she is aware that there's something going on. So she tries exploring her own shit, and she summons the new champions to aid her, right? Because she's in over her head. And not only do her friends show up, but a whole bunch of other young heroes as well.
Okay.
So they're like, Hell Ruin, how many new champions did you summon? And then it just like cuts to a splash of all these people fighting freaking like, you know, like God Beast in wherever the hell she brought them. I love it.
All right, you've sold me on it. I'm gonna get the first issue because I bet the second one's coming out soon. Then because I feel like the first issue came out last
second month. One's coming out. Second printing's already on the stack.
Oh, good for them.
Ooh, Lucas Wernick is another great Marvel artist. Storm and X-Books, absolutely. You have to agree.
Absolutely agree.
I want to go back. Let's test this. Cliff, Dark Crisis. I have no compassion for Dark Crisis. None.
I'm with you too on that.
Hot, fiery, written garbage with gorgeous artwork. I will always defend the artwork. I love Daniel Samper. It was beautiful artwork. It was one of the worst, most disappointing stories ever. And like Mark has tried to argue this with me, and like I can't. It does not deliver. It can't hold a candle to the original Crisis on Infinite Earths. George Perez has probably had to roll over in his grave when they made that tribute cover to him as part of Dark Crisis. Like I almost found it offensive because I thought Dark Crisis was so terrible. I will never stop talking about how much I hate Dark Crisis. And I know this is like our little joke, but I really hate it that much. And speaking of things that upset me and are also inside jokes, don't tell Cliff the Peacemaker show sucks unless you want to start a war. This is true. I was on a live stream the other night. Someone told me that Peacemaker wasn't for them. I said why, and they said, "Oh, it really goes against like my religious views or whatever." And I'm like, "What?" And it was like, "Well, you know, he had that threesome with that girl they abducted." I was like, "This is the bridge too far. This is the bridge too far. This." So I was just like, we watch all sorts of monstrous stuff, and somehow that was the bridge too far. You know what? I'm unbelievable. I would pay for a threesome with Peacemaker and Vigilante. Shit.
That was fun.
All right, so Roscoe's here this morning. Good morning, Roscoe. Good to see you. Priority.
I feel like that icon too, pointing up at you that said hashtag priorities made it even better.
Yes, exactly. It was perfect. Oh, Catfan's here too. Hello. Good morning. Catfan's got a great series on his channel where he like will do a cover a comic and a collectible, and like he has one almost every day of the week. You know.
Wow.
He kept it up for over a year, and then he couldn't keep it up as much, but you know, so they're very frequent.
I'm going to subscribe ASAP.
Yes, go check it out. Great guy. And Christina, if you're listening, you can put the link in the chat for Catfan. Yes, she did it. Look at that. Right there. Bam. I love it. All right, let's get into our first segment that I probably should have started like 10 minutes ago. And our comic of the week. I'm cheating because I have 2 comics of the week, but it is the same character. Wonder Woman and Absolute Wonder Woman are both my comic of the week. I love them. If you can get this cover, awesome. If you can get this cover, awesome. If you're looking for another cover for Wonder Woman this week, the sweater weather cover is also available. You know, plus the Daniel Samper cover is a banger in of itself. Mm-hmm. So I can't say enough, but I thought these books were excellent. Wonder Woman is killing it over at DC. Excellent. And that's all I'm going to say on the matter. I'm going to keep it sweet.
All right, my pick of the week is also, I don't have the copy because I don't go to the comic book store, but it is Absolute Wonder Woman as well. So he can put it up for you. God, yeah. I love this book, dude. Man, I just love this book so much. It is so wonderful. I love Hated Sherman's art. Kelly Thompson is such a glorious writer. And Jordi Belair on colors, and like Becca Carey with letters. Like this is the example I was talking about. This is a comic that shows this creative team just loves working together. It is just so good. Like I get so excited talking about it.
And you know what's funny? I feel the exact same way when I'm reading Wonder Woman. I feel like Tom and Daniel Samper are having an amazing, amazing time. You know?
Yeah.
I went with the Samper cover. Excellent. Wonder Woman's always a good choice. Nice Wonder Woman. Yes. Christina's always on it. Catfan, thank you for the awesome shout out. Yes. You are welcome, sir. And of course, Christina Payne is awesome. She's not wearing a sweater. No one's wearing a sweater on the sweater weather covers, and that is why I love them.
They're great. I saw the Superman one too, and I thought that one was pretty extraordinary.
I need more gratuitous male covers in my life because there are so many female ones. I need balance restored to the Force, so I am all about it.
DC every now and then does push with those, so I'm all for it too, man.
As they should, as they absolutely should, because we do need that. We do need that.
It's a requirement.
In my eyes, it's a requirement. It's an absolute requirement in my eyes. All right, let's make sure the chat is moving real fast. Good morning, Marcus. Thank you, and you like the stream. We appreciate you. Thank you, sir. All right, so good. We're on a good trend. We're moving right along. We're going into our the Bussy Busters. So this week's Bussy Buster for me is actually a birthday gift. It's this Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen 137, Jack Kirby on art with Murphy Anderson. Jack Kirby wrote the issue. I just like it's just a wonderful piece of Kirby DC goodness. Oh my god, it's crazy. But like this was like such a great gift too. I mean, there's nothing extra interesting about this, except they've always had somebody correcting Kirby's Superman face, right? And this particular cover, it's Neil Adams, right?
I see it, yeah.
That's really cool. But like, yeah, Jack Kirby on story, Jack Kirby with Vince Coletta on art, and then the cover is Jack Kirby and Neil Adams. So it's a very, very Jack Kirby issue of Superman's pal. So like that is very neat to me. And anyhow, I don't know. I just super enjoyed it, and like I just love that this is just a big part of it. Just that it's part of Kirby's run, and I'm getting close. I'm getting close to completing my Kirby run. I already have the Dark Side issues, so I'm getting there slowly but surely.
Oh, I love it. I love Jack Kirby. I read New Gods last year, and just I fell in love with the entire thing. I went on like a whole like Jack Kirby binge of reading last year, and I had an absolute blast from beginning to end with every single issue. I love Kirby.
I love it too. Awesome. You Jimmy Olsen, I'm jealous. Well, thank you.
Hey, I'm a little jealous too.
This one's not that hard to come by. This because there's no other key significance to it other than it's a very Kirby issue and the Neil Adams cover. So I feel, and also I don't know if you're aware of this, but like DC keys are woefully underpriced next to Marvel keys. Woefully underpriced. So like I feel like most people have a chance at snagging this one. Like I saw a slab of this for $39 in a 7.0.
Wow.
So like it's like, and I also saw a 9.4 sell for like $120. So it's not on a, yeah. Now I did find a almost near mint copy sold by like Reese's Rare Comics. I don't know if everybody's familiar with Reese, but a near mint he has for like $45. But it's beautiful. So, and this is a very nice copy too. I don't know if everybody.
It looks good, nice and slick. I love it.
I'm gonna give it the full zoom. I mean, you could see some corner dinging up at the top, but it's pretty darn good overall. All right, sir, your turn.
All right, so I brought this all the way. So, like I said, I'm an omnibus collector. So I recently got the Amalgam Universe omnibus recently. This is the Jim Lee direct market cover.
I was just gonna say that's the Jim Lee cover too. Beautiful.
Yep. And I'm like tiring my arms out holding that sucker. But I'm very excited to read some of these. Especially like this hasn't been in print in ages, and so I'm just ready to read it. The Amalgam comics that I'm very excited to read most of all is the Spider-Boy by Mark Kessel and Mark Irwingo. I think that one's going to be super fun. But yeah, I'm very excited to get into this because I know the history and stuff of all of it like coming together and what creators did what books and like what heroes were like merged together and stuff. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited.
Do you know that it includes the alternate endings to the battles in it?
Does it really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, that's even better. Okay, I'm excited.
Yes. I was going to say, because I have a friend, Mark, it's the only omnibus he's ever purchased.
No kidding.
And the big treat of it all was that the alternate endings are in there.
That is awesome. Okay, yeah, now I'm even more excited to do this.
Yeah. What an awesome doorstopper that would throw back out. You know what, Catfan? You know, as soon as the very first time you have a chance to rearrange your home, you need to have like one of those pulpits like put onto the end of your dining room table just so you could read an omnibus. Just like put it right there. And then just enjoy reading it like you're reading the Bible at Mass to the parishioners. I pushed 8,000 followers this week. Christina, pretty excited about that. Very good. That's 8,000. That's 8,000 across platforms. But he is yes, Velvet Joker. Go check him out. We have a Tim Seeley interview coming up soon. That there are small clips of in my shorts section. But look forward to that soon. And I think I'm caught up with the chats. I'm trying to keep, every time I turn my eye away from the chat to you, I look over, there's 12 new messages. I'm like, oh, some of it is just to load. Some of it is actually a question for you. I gotta keep my eye on that. All right. That is some great Pussy Buster material, you know, and I think the omnibus is worthy of a special reaction.
I'm glad I was able to get that.
Yeah, I'm all about the gratuitous nature of things. All about it.
Hey, I love it. I'm all here for it.
Yeah, I will make that happen and send a pic. Yes.
I gotta see this though.
Get the pulpit for your omnibus. Start enjoying them, darn it. They're more than just door stoppers. Oh my goodness. Also very good. All right, here's a fun question, since I still have some for you. What do you think was the most surprising thing you've learned from running your own show?
That creators are incredibly gracious. I'm trying to think. Paul and we've interviewed just a handful of creators. We've done Jed McKay, Philip Kennedy Johnson, Kelly Thompson, and every time we reached out to a creator, they were just so sweet and kind, and they just love talking about their creations. And I remember when we did Steve Orlando, he was our first one, and I remember I remember when Paul and I started our show, he was like, hey, who do you want to interview? I can start reaching out. I'm like, do Steve Orlando. I just read Commanders in Crisis. And so he reached out to them, and Steve Orlando was like, yeah, I'll totally do it. I'm like, dude. And Paul told me, I'm like, man, we don't even have a logo or anything. So it was just so nice, because there's a lot of creators out there. They're just so nice and and if you're kind to them, they're kind right back. And I remember when we first did the interview with Steve Orlando, and then tons of the other interviews after that, I was always super nervous leading up to the interview. And as soon as it happened, once it started and we started talking with the creators, I was always I felt like I was almost talking to a friend, like someone I ran into at the comic book shop or something. That's just they just want to talk about comics. They want to talk about their creation. And every interview I've done, it's always been so wholesome. And I would say I think it's really gained my respect for just a lot of people that do the podcast and that do and create comics and everything.
I have to agree. And Steve is one of my favorite people too. I love him so much. And also same thing, even with Tim Seeley the other night, once we started talking, it was just talking to an old friend. I complimented his spinner rack in the background. His daughter was playing with one of his old toys.
Aww,
sweet. And Rich got right into the questions. We had a nice tag team of questions for Tim on his works, and of course the fact that Revival is going to be coming to our home screens pretty soon.
Which that's awesome. I mean, good for them too, because I think I think Tim Seeley's a fantastic creator, honestly, and I'm really happy to see that Revival's getting the love that it deserves.
As it should. A good story, a great story, great main characters, a really thought out cast, and like it's the type of story you can see translating to film
easily. Yeah.
So like
because it's just so tight, and like the way how the characters interact with each other, just everything is just so, I think, so carefully planned out and everything. And the fact that it did like just it's, I think, like 47 issues plus the little one shot and everything. I think it's just so beautiful from beginning to end, with characters you can engage with and everything. Sorry.
And I like that, you know, it's a story where he's like, I have my beginning, middle, and end, and that's it. I'm telling you. You know, I told it in 48 comics, told the story. That's all I needed, and we're done. You know?
I think that's what makes it so much more enjoyable, honestly.
Absolutely. And the fact that, yes, if I want to revisit any of these characters, like we can, you know, well, not any of them, but most of these characters, we can, you know? So I appreciate works like that, you know, and some people can make things grow. Like, I am really impressed with Eric Larson's ability to take Savage Dragon and age it in real time, you know? And like, that's also really fascinating. So like, the current Savage Dragon is the original Savage Dragon's son, you know? Like, I think that
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like, no, because he's been aging it in real time. So like, it's just been happening, you know? And of course, like, some of the characters, like, their powers are magic based, so like they don't age, but like everything happening around them, their world is moving in real time. And that's, I don't know, it's really interesting how that has been his way of keeping it fresh, right? Has been that constant real-time momentum.
I mean, that's a good way to approach things, instead of like keeping things just like at a stagnant pace, which that's kind of cool. I mean, but like, I don't think you could do that with like superheroes, almost like the Marvel and DC.
Well, because they refuse to, right? They want them to be evergreen, and that's really it's really not enough respect for Larson, too many Spawn fans, not enough Dragon fans. It's true, because they've both been around just as long. I
do love Larson's Spider-Man. I've read did he do Revenge for the Sinister Six, or like Return of the Sinister Six or something? I love how he draws Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the ones, right?
Yeah, like he's one of the ones that you like. It's so funny too. Like, when I started reading comics, it was very hard for me to. I didn't appreciate art as much, and now, like, a couple years later, I can now, like, if I look at a page, I know that's the artist that drew that page or something like that, and I love having that skill.
Right, you're like, no, that's definitely Kirby. Nope, that's definitely Jim Lee.
Oh yeah, totally.
You're like, that one's Jay Lee. I can tell by all the shadows.
He's evil. He's easy to point out.
Yeah, you know. Although there are a couple of Jay Lees that are very different, and you're like, oh wow. Yeah. Rich also loves interviewing creators, working on doing Bart Sears next. That should be fun. I love me some Bart Sears.
Oh, fun. Yeah, I love interviewing creators too. Like, more than just like learning like behind the scenes and stuff. I just love listening to them talk about comics and what they do. It's just like fascinating. Like, I've caught myself kind of just lost in a trance of them talking. I'm like, oh, I gotta be the host. I gotta keep things going.
And there is a whole nature to that, right? Like, you know, like even here, I'm like, well, let me make sure I have enough questions for Cole. Let me make sure I'm moving to a specific pace. You know, we got to get through all this stuff that I want to cover, you know, because of course I can't monopolize your time forever.
It takes a lot of energy. I totally agree.
And I only have so much water. Oh my goodness. All right, that's going to bring us to one of my favorite parts of the show. So, rate it or hate it, I go to Cover Price and we look back on their retrospective. This is the 4-year reflective from January 2021. So we're going to look at the top 10 from 2021. You're going to tell me if we're going to hate it or rate it, and then we will rate on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being, this is for somebody out there. 5 being like, this is amazing. We should all have this in our collection. All right, first one up is going to be Star Wars Tales from the Clone Wars And that's from Dreams and Vision Press in 2010. Woof. All right, rate it or hate it.
I'm gonna rate it, honestly. Probably rate it and probably just be a 1.
Right, because it's for somebody out there.
Yeah. I mean, there's some people that love because I love like the Clone Wars and stuff and everything, but it's for someone, not for me, maybe.
This comic is the first appearance of Cad Bane, first canon appearance of Ahsoka Tano, first canon Asajj Ventress, first canon Captain Rex, and the origin of General Grievous. And of course, it was selling at a raw $500, now
Holy
dropping
cow.
way down, and with graded copies even lower than $185.
Wow.
So, something else. Oh my goodness. Savage Dragon, the model for creator control project. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just because I happen to like Ahsoka Tano and Asajj Ventress and Captain Rex, I'm gonna give it a 2. It's for somebody out there. It's not on my to-go-to list, but also if I ran into a copy for 104, I can't say I wouldn't snag it. All right, next up on the retrospective, we have King in Black, Gwydam versus Carnage, the Inhut Lee 1 in 25 variant. Ooh, it's taken a nosedive in the prices. Rate it or hate it?
Rate it.
You're very generous.
I know, but I'm gonna give it a 1 though. Again, I do love the cover. I love the cover. 1.
Okay, I'm going to agree with you on the 1. The only note that they have here about this book is the cover.
Really?
That's it. It's just that it's this 1 in 25. That is the only thing special. There's nothing else of note here other than it is a very appealing ratio variant. That's it. Oh my God. Next one up is one I forgot even existed. And this one is by Terry Moore. And it's Serial #1.
I'm gonna hate it.
Really?
I can't. I don't know. I don't know much about. I don't know.
You don't know much about Terry Moore or serial killers?
It just doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah, serial killers is not. Although I'm obsessed with the Deviant. Like I do love the
Deviant. Yes, yeah, Deviant's like, so good.
I can't wait for February so we can finally finish it. I cannot wait for that final issue. I'm like losing my mind over it.
Me too.
Yeah, honestly, I can't say rate or hate on this because like I don't remember it. I don't even remember that it came out.
I've never seen anything like this before.
I do like Terry Moore, so I'm probably gonna go and check it out. Now the next one has a very, very odd special place in my heart. And that's Amazing Spider-Man 55, first printing from 2021, The Last Remains issue.
Yes. Oh, God, that cover. I have this hung up in my room, actually, this poster.
And I have second printing signed hanging above my head.
Oh, it is. I love this cover so much. What was this, out of 5?
Yes, out of 5.
5.
Yeah. I happen to like the Last Remains storyline.
I do too.
I'm also giving it a 5 just because I love it and also sentimental reasons. So, my friend Angel, who passed away, I won that autographed second printing off of Instagram from Alonji NJ AL New Jersey. He actually just sent out a joy box to several members of the community, including Rob's Fat Stacks of Comics. So go check that video out on Rob's Fat Stacks of Comics. But I won that on the way to my friend's funeral. I got the notification on Instagram. And my friend loves Spider-Man. So it's like super, super sentimental. So whenever I see one of these copies, I in every version, right? I'm just trying to pick one up. And of course, no matter how many times I change the slabs on the wall, I'm going to leave that one that's like over my head. I'm just going to leave that one there.
Oh, that's sweet. I love that.
So this one will always have a special place in my heart. All right. That's moving us to number 6. Number 6 is a Dustin Nguyen B variant. And again, it features Red X. That's cool. And those are the only 2 things of note. cool cover variant and Red X, and it's Future State Teen Titans #1.
I didn't know. I hate it.
Yeah, right? Like, did it not go anywhere? And it just wasn't like,
Like, I actually read the Teen Titans, like the Teen Titans Academy and everything on DC Universe Infinite, and I just couldn't get into it whatsoever.
And also, like, Wonder Woman is the one with the quintessence, like, checking all this stuff out and still makes the decision, like, oh, my friends are going to be fine. I'm like, no, Diana, did you not see Gotham in flames? Like, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, because I didn't enjoy that. I didn't. But let's see if we can turn it around, because there's more Star Wars on the horizon.
Oh, look at that.
With Star Wars High Republic from Marvel, #1.
I'm gonna rate it. I've read the High Republic stuff, and I enjoy it quite a bit. I think Kevin Scott did some pretty good stuff with the High Republic and everything. Not a 5 at all, but maybe a 3 or 4. Honestly, I have the omnibus that's like the complete phase 1 of the High Republic stuff, and I read all the way through that and actually thoroughly enjoyed it.
I'm also going to go with a 3. This was a good read because I was picking up a little more Star Wars then. It always has potential to become a TV series.
Well, yeah.
Right? I guess. But for like personal, like own it, and it's an affordable range to pick up a good series that's enjoyable, I say a 3.
It's hard to say no to something like that.
Very hard. Very hard. And then, of course, bringing us to #4, it's still Star Wars The High Republic. But this is the Stephanie Hahn variant, and that's what makes this special.
I'm going to keep my rating the same, but like that is a beautiful cover. I love Stephanie Hahn's stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And yes, I agree on keeping it a 3 as well. All right, the next one, we're going to change it up again. It's an image book from 2017.
Interesting.
It's one of the 10 most anticipated graphic novels of that year. And it is Port of Earth, #1.
Oh, by Zach Kaplan.
Yes. Very good. Good job. I love that.
I know more about what creators what creators are attached to what comics more than I know what happens in the actual comic.
That's great.
I actually read this when did I read this? I read this last year too. It's a fine book. It didn't really blow me away. The premise is great, but it didn't really catch me as much as I was hoping for it to. I'm going to rate it and give it a 2.
Again, I don't even remember it, so I can't say anything about it, and I'm just going to have to pass on that one.
They recently just came out with like a deluxe hardcover of it, and so like
Which now I'm going to be tempted to go pick up.
It's just I think it's just 12 issues, so
that sounds good.
It's not bad. It's got like I like the art too by Andrea Muti and stuff. I love the black and white aesthetic that it's got going on with it. It's a very okay book. It's not terrible, but I think it has a lot of potential. Can't believe that's #3.
No, right? But like, wait till you see #2. #2 is Haha #1 from Image Comics.
I love this series. I loved it.
Yeah, it's from Ice Cream Man creator W. Maxwell Price. It was a tremendous hit on arrival, and obviously it has fizzled out severely.
Oh, totally, yeah. I actually just bought this trade a couple months ago and loved it too, because he did the sort of like the same sort of approach to another series called Swan Songs, where he had like a different artist for each issue. And I love that approach, honestly. I like the anthology stuff because like it continues like the Ice Cream Man stuff that he's currently doing, and I'm gonna rate it at a 4. I loved it.
I'm gonna have to agree, because impact wise, it endures, right?
Yes.
Even if people are not giving it its fair shake, but yeah,
which I get. Clowns are unappealing.
Right, but I mean that's kind of the same thing with Ice Cream Man. Like you're reading the issue because of the horrors that are taking place. You know.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Otherwise, yeah, you want to stay away. It's like, I don't want to deal with clowns. All right, the last one. Can you believe that one was number 2? So like the last one is actually one that already appeared on the list, just a different cover. Future State.
Wow.
Can you believe this? People were a cover price was 8 on this a few years ago.
Jeez, hate it.
Hey, listen, clearly we're not alone. It cost you about $40 just to get a book graded today. Imagine that there are graded copies going for $17.
Wow.
That's how badly this went down.
That's abysmal.
That is. I mean, I don't feel like, is there anything that could save this book? Let's see. Future Red X on the last page. That's all anybody could talk about was Red X. You know, Red X was a character that resonated with fans and went nowhere. So if you're obsessed with Red X, everybody, you can look for cheap ass 9.8 copies of this. Go hunt them down.
$17. That is hilarious.
It is. All right, and that rounds out. I hope you had fun.
I did have fun.
That's great. All right, that is. I'm glad you have your water too, because we're getting to that part of the show that's all about you, and that's the 5-finger shuffle.
Oh, wonderful. I just took a drink. So you asked me to put together 5 comics or trades that share my own theme, and so I came up with a bunch of lists because I love lists. So it was very hard for me to just choose one. And so the one I decided to go with is my favorite Superman comics, actually. Especially with the Superman series coming up on the horizon, or a movie coming up on the horizon in July. So I would say my number one favorite of all is All-Star Superman. If you have not read it, I highly recommend that you do. I think it's like the definitive Superman narrative by Grant Morrison, Frank Quitely. It is, I think I've probably read it a billion times, and I get lost reading it every single time because it's just a beautiful, wonderful book. I think it's very honest and wholesome, and I just love it so much. It's such a wonderful book. I'm assuming you've also read All-Star Superman.
Oh, you better believe it. I own the DVD. I've read it 100 times. I've watched it 100 times. I may want to be one of the few people that I like the video better than I actually enjoy reading the book.
No kidding. I've never seen the video. The
animated movie is quite good, and it skips stuff in the book that I didn't care for, like Bizarro. You know?
Yeah, that is. Anything with Bizarro, I have trouble kind of just reading, honestly.
You know, if it's just Bizarro, I can handle it. But the fact that we were going through this whole thing with a Bizarro of Bizarro, I was like, oh no.
Well, like your brain, it literally breaks your brain when you're trying to read it too.
Yes, you know, me love you, Superman. Goodbye, and it's just like, I hate you. Hello. Like, oh. You know. I did enjoy what happened in Action Comics because as a result, Superman became slightly more invulnerable to magic.
Yeah.
You know, so
was that the one that Jason Aaron did?
Yes.
Yeah, that was fun too. Another, this is a very recent one in the last couple of years that came out that I really love is the Warworld Saga by Philip Kennedy Johnson.
Yes.
This was the first Superman story that I actually followed as it was coming out, and so like I have a nice like little personal connection with it too. And like I'm actually, the funny thing is I know Philip Kennedy Johnson through his sister was actually my band teacher when I was in high school.
What?
Yeah, so I'm like friends with him on Facebook and everything, and so like my band teacher reached out to him, and like he friended me on Facebook and said, hey Cole, I heard you're a huge fan and everything. And then I like messaged him and I was like, hey, do you want to do an interview or anything? He said, yeah. And so like it's kind of cool. And so like I talk to him every now and then, and he's so cool. And I just love how he writes Superman and everything, and I think the whole saga, like from beginning to end, even like his future state issues, I think were phenomenal. And he had great. That's where like Daniel Samperi really came into like I think what got him his like job on Dark Crisis and on Wonder Woman and everything. And then you have like Riccardo Federici, who also did some of the like when they were on War World and everything. I think it's just a really great. It's a great Superman story, and because it really perfectly solidifies who he is. Because he struggles, because he does everything in his power to save the slaves from Mongol and everything, and he screws up a lot. But I think even though he screws up, he doesn't lose hope, and I think that's what makes Superman honestly inspiring.
And he found 2 more Kryptonians along the way.
Which I think they're great additions to the Superman cast. I wish they would have done more of like the Superman family aesthetic and everything, because I feel like that's kind of been pushed to the wayside a little bit. But still, loved it.
Yeah, because honestly, I'm like, also, do you notice that no one seems to mention the kids that often?
No, I think it's only going to be like a Philip Kennedy Johnson sort of, like.
But I would think, like, could Williamson at least go, oh, so and so is babysitting the kids? Just a note, Like, they feel so abandoned. Lois is being Superwoman. John's too old to need a babysitter. Superman's being Superman with his wife. So, like, it's like, oh, by the way, there's super-powered preteens hanging around. That's okay,
Nothing you can do about it now.
They worry me.
I know, I get that. I could see Williamson though. He's usually, I feel like, pretty good at like making little. Granted, he hasn't done it yet, but like good at like making just like little subtle drops in his stories like that. That just like it's not like essential to the story or the comic at hand, but it is fun to just like see that the whole world is still like connected and haven't been forgotten. Granted, he hasn't done it at all yet, but still, with the kids.
It's true. It's just there. You're like, that's happening.
Another one of my favorites. So these Superman comics are like, I think, great books that I think would be perfect if you haven't read a Superman comic ever before, or if you're a little skeptical on the character in general, or just want to read a Superman comic in preparation for the movie that's coming out in June or July. But another one of my favorites is by Mark Waid and Lino Francis Yu. It's the Superman Birthright. I love that book.
You're not the first person to mention it. I like it. I don't know how I feel about Superman the vegan.
Okay, yes, I understand that part as well.
But
I get you.
And I don't know. Like Birthright has had some hits in it and some missed moments in it for me. But you're right. I think I like it more than I dislike it. And Waid was one of the first writers that I read about, talking about how he read an older Superman comic and Superman's supervision was showing him so much stuff, that he was like, well, Superman wouldn't want to like eat living animals because, he could see all these vibrational frequencies with supervision, and I'm like, oh, that's neat. And I was like, wouldn't that apply to eating plants too? I'm like,
I mean, you bring up some good points.
So, but overall, I mean, I always appreciate Waid. So,
I think he really captures Superman very well. In any story that he has Superman in, I think he just captures the character very well. And so, like, if I ever see him that he's writing him, like if it's like Batman, Superman, World's Finest, or Justice League or anything, I think he understands the core of that character and gets the characteristics just pitch perfect every time.
Agreed. It's really he gets it, and I love that.
Honestly, he does that for like almost all the other comics that he writes too. He just gets it. Another one of my favorites is Superman Smashes the Klan by Gene Luen Yang. Thank you.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I cannot express enough of my love of Superman Smashes the Klan. I don't know if I have the words. I talk about it all the time. And like, I love it. I absolutely love it. Hold on, I'm doing this all wrong. Yep.
I moved so many places.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. All right. But like, so not only is this based on the radio drama, and I love it, right?
Yes.
But like, when it came out, it was in 2019, and we were still in round one of a very tumultuous time in American history. And I was in a there are multiple shops near me, right? And I didn't have this problem in my LCS, but one of the local shops I went to, I said, why is this not front and center on the counter, right? And they're like, no, it's a little too controversial. And I was like, should be nothing controversial about Superman smashing the Klan, right? And if we are at a point where we think this is too controversial, I think we've gone too far in the wrong direction. So I just rant and rave about how much I love this. This is one of the greatest Superman stories ever, and I love it. You're absolutely
wholeheartedly. So I'm actually a library director in my hometown. That's why I'm in my office. And after I got my job, I actually sprung in and I bought a lot of graphic novels to try to get more like teenage readers and everything, and like and this was the one. And the funny thing is, like, I got hired in 2022, so the book was probably just it was like 3 years old already by this point. But we didn't have this in our collection. So I remember when I bought it, and we did staff, and I had my staff. They all did like reviews of their favorite books, and this was the one I did. And I highlighted it and put a spotlight on it as much as I could, because it is just such a good book. I remember when I read this, I put this down. I'm like, I'm gonna read this again, because I just love it so much, and the art is just so beautiful too. And Gene Luen Yang is always a writer who just really gets it as well. I love everything that he writes. Every time I see his name on a book, I pick it up and I buy it. I think I have almost every book that he's written so far at my house.
What an excellent, excellent choice. And excellent discussion. Cole, what are your thoughts on the upcoming slate of movies like Superman and Captain America? Very interested in your perspective.
Superman movie. I am so excited. I've probably watched that trailer a dozen plus times. And it's just a teaser trailer too. And so I'm very excited for it. It feels, when I watch it, I don't feel like I'm going to get duped and it's just going to be just some typical superhero movie. I'm very excited for everything that's supposed to come with the DC movies. I think they got an incredible cast. I think James Gunn, will do a lot of great things with the movie and bring in a lot of respect to the character and everything. And plus, it's nice not to see anything dark and brooded anymore with the Superman movies and any of the DC movies right now. Because I remember I was actually just talking to my brother about this. No, I was talking to my girlfriend about this, actually, about how much I just could not get behind Zack Snyder's movies at all. And it's because it didn't show the characters of who they actually are. It was just some dark and twisted version of a man's idea of specific characters, and it just didn't work for me.
Did you watch both director's cuts, the Batman vs. Superman and the Justice League?
Yes.
Did you have better opinions of those versions?
So I didn't like the theoretical Justice League movie. And then with the Snyder Cut, I also don't like it. And because, in my opinion, if you have to make a 4-hour movie to justify why it's a good movie, then you already failed.
That may be the case. And also, it shouldn't be a 4-hour movie. We could still trim it. And I did not care for killing Cyborg's father, because, why do we got to kill everybody's parents, Zack Snyder? Thank you very much. But I did think it was a better story, and I did think that we got a better Superman. And when I watched the director's cut of Batman vs. Superman, I thought the movie was more critical of itself. Lois got a better story, and I still felt like Superman was more Superman, and Superman's thoughts and actions were better explored. And Lois putting it together was great. Superman felt this extreme guilt because of that explosion, right? And he couldn't understand why he didn't even notice it, right? And he's blaming himself. And Lois is like, it's not you, it's a metal that Luthor created. You know? And like, I was like that fit to me much more, right? And even that Batman, they were more critical of Batman's actions because Batman's like, oh, Superman's so destructive, and Alfred's like, ha, ha, ha. You know, seriously, Master Bruce? Like, you know, like, so I was like, yes, like, I was like, it needed that. Cliff, that was very Disney of Snyder. He just killed off both parents. He let Martha Kent live, and that was important.
Martha.
You know? But yeah, no, I'm pretty excited for this. I am very worried that James Gunn is putting too much into one movie. I'm very worried.
Yes, okay. I totally agree with you there, because there's way too many characters that aren't like part of the Superman supporting cast in general, where like I don't really see him interacting with Guy Gardner or Hawkgirl or Mr. Terrific a lot. Before this though. Like,
but at least, see, I know that they're there. They basically represent the elite, right? It's like, this movie is very much Action Comics 775.
Okay, yes.
Except we have a version of the elite in the movie because it looks like Rick Flag's intervention. It looks like they're going to be the more brutal answer to the world's problems. It looks like Mr. Terrific wants to be a very practical solution to the world's problems. And then there's Superman, right?
Yeah.
And so just me describing that alone to you, I feel like we're already doing too much work, right? Then whoever that guy is in the mask, who's going to end up being some kind of Bizarro clone, is also really upsetting to me. Like, we don't need to introduce a version of Ultraman who's also going to be a version of Bizarro to compound things here. Like, I don't like that is what I'm afraid of. It may turn out great. I pray it turns out great. I'm just afraid it's like too much. But yes, the nature of these characters being there under the guise of they represent the elite, and like they really got to turn heel when Superman shows them what being a hero really means. I like that. I hope that's what we're really going for here. Plus, we've got Lex in the mix. We've got the whole cast of the Daily Planet. Supergirl's getting a cameo. Someone else is getting a cameo.
Crypto. I love Crypto.
It's going to be there. The ugliest Guy Gardner they could have ever created is
with
there.
The haircut.
I don't know. I feel like I'm in the minority of people who absolutely hate this. But not only do I hate this Guy Gardner, I hate Nathan Fillion. So like I'm so over it. Like I find him to be a very disingenuous person, and just get out. I like, okay, you have a good working relationship with James Gunn, great. Don't be Guy Gardner. Get out. Please give me somebody who could be a Green Lantern. You know, maybe I don't hate Nathan Fillion. That might be a little bit too strong, but I just like him. I dislike him greatly. If you remember Castle, they were gonna remove the co-star from the show, right? Look at this. Guy Gardner looks perfect. Like, no, he looks like garbage. He looks like garbage. Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner is in the Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths bucket for me. There's no forgiving it. I will not relent. If it's for you, I want to remind you it's not for me. You know. So like, but Nathan Fillion, when they were gonna ask what's her name to leave, Nathan Fillion jumped on Twitter and was like, "Oh, it was nice working with you, and I'm gonna move on. You know, we're gonna move on with the series." And then of course, when fans backlash, they're like, "We will not watch the show if you kill this woman off," right? And then what do? They just wrapped up the show. You know, there was an explosion at the end of the show, and then it cut to a few months later. They're all and they have a happy ending. You know, but they were just gonna kill her off and just continue Castle. So I thought that was such a that was like such like not great behavior. The way he's kind of defended Joss Whedon, and like I would love to work with him again. I'm like, these are red flags for me, and they've really, really tarnished my emotional relationship to this man. So that's it. That's my grind my gears box. Thank you for listening. And I'm just gonna release that. And so yeah, I want a better Guy Gardner, and that's it. I'm sorry. Just grab my Superman Specials a clan for my LCS. Yes, Canadian Survivalists. Yes.
Wonderful.
I hate the Guy Gardner too. Actually, what is up with the hair? Thank you. Because really, it's so bad. But outside of it, but the fact is, when I watch the trailer, the thing that I hate most is Guy Gardner, which makes me feel like this movie can still be very good. Very good. It's classic, but I hear you and support you. Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah. No, and right. And Firefly is great. I've rewatched it many times, but like he's like tarnished. He's tarnished my view of him. You know. Good morning, beautifuls. Good morning, madam. Mwah. I hope you're having a beautiful day out in Arizona. Captain Mal can do whatever he wants. No, he cannot. No. And certainly not without my consent. And you know what? He used to be hot, and now personality can ruin you. Anyhow, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying all of this. I'm having a blast.
Fine, you're happy. Wait, hold on. Let me go find my happy place. There we go.
There it is. You feel better now?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so so did we do your whole 5?
I have one more.
Okay, what's the last one?
The last one is Superman Camelot Falls by Kurt Busiek and Carlos Pacheco.
Can I just tell you what a miserable time it was to read that story in real life?
Yes, I understand. I've read a lot of why, because of like delays, right? And like
delays, the issues not coming out in order. It was a nightmare. But I also want to tell you that once I read the trade, I loved it. I loved it in trade. Because in trade, you got to read the story for what it was, you know? And Busiek was trying to create his own version of Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul for Superman. Yeah. And he did such a great job, and I'm just so upset that no one has gone back to revisit this in any way, shape, or form.
They released a hardcover of it a couple months ago, which I've already read it before I got the hardcover, but I just bought that hardcover so I can have my own copy. And I love Kurt Busiek as a writer. I think he's one of the greatest comic book writers ever, honestly. I love his Avengers. I loved his Iron Man. He did a really fun. Did you ever read Untold Tales of Spider-Man?
No.
It's really cool. So Untold Tales of Spider-Man, it takes place in the early years of when he was Spider-Man. This was coming out in the mid-90s, like when all of, like the Clone Saga stuff was. And
I remember his parents as secret agents being part of that.
So this was like this was supposed to be like an alternative to the main series of what was going on. It was just like I think it was like 99 cents at the time, but they were just a bunch of like little fun stories that took place in between like one story could take place in between issues 1 and 2 of Amazing Spider-Man and stuff. But there are a lot of really fun stories, and I think it does not get enough recognition for. I think it's a really fun. I think it's like a little over 20 issues. It's really fun. I highly recommend it if you ever want news.
It's exactly 25 issues. Now that I'm looking at the figures, I remember them. So like, you know, like this is the one I specifically remember.
Yeah, because that was like issue. Yeah, it was when they did like the -1 stuff.
Yeah, -1. It's like, let's talk about your parents. You know. Then we got the first issue.
Yeah.
That one was. Now this is funny because this is actually like comes around the time he was actually fighting these guys.
Yeah. And like, there's even some that say like, because at the end of the omnibus, there's a timeline for when the issues came out that like Kurt Busiek and Tom Brevoort came up with, and like there's some that like say this takes place in between issue 5 pages, between like page 15 and page 22 or something like that, and it's like really thorough and stuff, but it's fun. It's just a lot of it's just like there's stakes, but it's not like continuity heavy. It's just all around so fun. I highly recommend reading this. I mean, I think this is on Marvel Unlimited too, so like definitely give it a shot if you've never read this before.
I think that's great.
Well, yeah, Superman Camelot Falls is great. I love it.
I love it too, and it took me a long time to get there. And somebody was like, because somebody looked at me like, "What, are you crazy? Why don't you love it?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "It was awful. It was convoluted. It was this. It was that." And they're like, "You need to read the trade." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then I read it. I was like, "Oh my god, it's really good."
Yeah. Well, because Jeff Johns was writing the other stuff, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like, because he did like the Last Sun and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the Last Sun, the Brainiac saga, the Legion of Heroes, which of course I just love so much. Every time the Legion reaches out to Superman, I love it. I love
Legion stuff. Yeah, same here.
So good. Oh my god. So Cole, thank you so much. We made it. We made it to the end. Those were excellent picks, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I spent a lot of time on my list.
none of them which made me have to crawl into a bad space. Did you enter #thank you into the chat for the giveaway? Because if you haven't, this is your chance, folks. So enter #. I'm gonna give you guys like 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Has everyone entered? I'll give you another second. Only 5 and 6 entries. Okay. All right, people. Come on. Like, make it work. Make it happen.
You should put a countdown on, like, when you do that, like a frightening, like, 10 seconds to really get people going.
You know, I'll think about that for the future. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Draw. Steve White!
Woo! Good job, Steve White.
All right, Steve, you hit me up on Instagram at CliffNY. And you, of course, are getting the Art Germ. Oh, hold on, let's do this. The Art Germ Captain Marvel, Art Germ Spider-Woman, Art Germ Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Ghost Rider 2099 cover from Spirits of Vengeance #5, and Ultimate Wolverine #1, the Bermejo cover. So hit me up at CliffNY on Instagram, send me your address, and I will get these out to you soonish. I always tell people, you'll know when it's coming to you because I will have made the label, I'll send it to you, and then let you know that it's on its way. I got 2 packages that haven't gone out. But, you know, I'm trying, folks. I'm trying to keep it on track. Steve, you like the books. Awesome. I'm happy about that.
Congratulations, Steve.
Excellent. All right. So, Cole, anything to share before we wrap up?
Just thank you so much for having me. And thank you, everyone, for the wonderful questions. And thank you so much for just making me feel very welcome. I love talking about comics, and I love being here. So thank you so much.
I love it. I love that you were here, too. Hey, wait, I have one great question for you before we end. What's your do you have a favorite snack while reading comic books?
My favorite snack, I always love having a cup of coffee when I read comics. That's not my snack, but I love having comics or coffee when I read my comics.
Fantastic. All right, thank you again for being here. It was a pleasure having you. Chat, you were awesome today. Thank you guys for everything. Next week, it's Ian and Becca are going to be with me, so tune in for that, especially since we're having great conversation with younger readers, so excellent. See you then. Cole, hope to have you back. I don't have my, you know what, somewhere on the calendar. Let's do it again.
Hey.
Sometime.
Put me on. I am always down to do this. I had a lot of fun. I would love to be a regular member of this show.
Excellent. I would love to see it. All right. So next time, everybody, take care. Love you, folks.